Ladies and gentlemen, SideStrafe back with some more World of Tanks. And today we're going to be taking a look at some replay file footage. Some games that I had during this week, and I thought they were interesting, so I wanted to share. This first match, of course, featuring the JagdTiger 88, German Tier 8 Premium Tank Destroyer. Highest credit earning potential in the game. However, is it going to be enough to get me through a match in this map, which still seems a little prone to draws? It's one of those maps that they had removed and then they brought back. They added some objects and buildings to the east, west, and midpoints to allow people some more cover, room for advancing, if you will. But more often than not, you end up with long-term camping, and speaking of that, it's pretty much what I'm doing in this match, and it's mostly because I had intended to move up the west side, and I saw that we were lacking tanks on the east, so I decided to stay back at base, use this hill to protect my lower glacis, as it is a weak point in this game. And I figured, well, if they get through the east, I'm going to wait till they come through the open and let them have it. I've got a great rate of fire. I can track and do damage over and over again if I have to. They do have a lot of housing cover on that side that they can get to, but if anything, I'm pretty well protected here. And the JagdTiger 88 does get pretty nice tiering, so we're usually close to the top with it. And mobility isn't great, so it is nice to just find some cover like this and let people have it. Now, as you can see by looking at my team, we're not doing so hot, and I remember that this was a game played during one of my live streams, and of course everybody in the chat's already commenting on that. And you know, at this point I'm just thinking, well, let me at least get some damage in, let me try to take some of these fools out, and see if by some miracle we can hold out for a decent amount of time. I've got some fantastic cover. I feel really safe behind this hill. They do have some artillery, but I've got that lower glacis covered up, which means it's going to be really tough for them to try to pen me. That upper hull's got some insanely thick armor. And again, the whole lower glacis thing is a World of Tanks feature. In real life, lower glacis would just be really thick and angled as well, so I'm not sure why they decided that that would be a good idea, but it is what it is, and we have to deal with it. Anyway, you can see that we've lost everything on the east, and I've decided to just turn my attention to destroying some of their cover. I figure that if I can remove some of those buildings, we can maybe get at that Hellcat, and I think they've got a couple others as well. And you know that he's in one of those spots where it's like, oh man, I don't feel good about this spot anymore, and my cover is being blown away, so we're just trying to work on him. He's got some speed if he wants to try to get out of there, but he's really vulnerable right now. Again, them leading any type of assault through that open area, that's going to result in some death. I can tell you that much, mostly because I've got another tank destroyer, T-28, I think, next to me, helping me out. You can see there's a bounce from that Hellcat. You're going to have to try harder than that, buddy. There's 3 bounces total now. We finally take a hit. It's a crit to my gun, so I'm going to have to repair that, because that could be a bad situation. So I go ahead and waste a kit on that, and just continue to open fire. They had lit me up there for a little bit, but not really taking any major damage other than that gun. And the T-28 also focusing his attention there. But I'm also making some noise, knocking down some trees. A little worried about that artillery, but then again, I'm always worried about artillery. T-28. Got a nice gun if he can actually hit something. And we see this guy here who's going to be problematic. Worst thing that can happen, really. See, we got a lot of nice cover here. We're camoed up and everything, but that artillery starts letting us have it. And T-28, I think, was taking some fire. And everybody's just trying to shoot at us at this point, but it seems like a lot of them are hitting the ridge, or they're just flat out missing, whatever. And I'm focusing on this Hellcat. Where is he? There he is. Didn't really have a full silhouette, but my reticle had turned green, so I took the shot. And of course, once again, classic World of Tanks, the odds are against us. And It's one of those things where maybe I should have went to the east to help some of the people over there, but I had already committed to the west, and when you're in a slow tank in this game, if you've committed to a side, you just got to keep pushing it, because the amount of time it takes to return will cost you in the long run, because by the time you find adequate cover and a good firing solution, you might just be tracked and taken out in the process. So I decided to stay in this nice hull down position, and well, for me, it's been paying off. You know, when we look at the grand scheme of things, you know, you might think otherwise, but at this point, again, I'm just sitting here waiting for them to come to me. If they want to draw it out, if they want a full-on assault, whatever, I'm going to take somebody else with me. Here we have eyes on their T-28. Nice big bold target for us. Another hit from our T-28. And he's regretting his decision right about now. I can pretty much guarantee that. But now he's giving us some of that frontal armor, which is kind of difficult to get through. Thought I'd go for some blind shots. Take a couple of guesses there. Switch to something we can see. And, of course, just needs one more shot. Always the case, isn't it? But I think he's put himself back behind that hill. And we wait. Now, we've got this Tiger II that's in the center somewhere. And I guess he's just trying to hold his own. He's got a target now up front over there. And I'd love to be able to assist, but we've just been having a lot of trouble trying to get at some of these guys at the center. There's a couple of buildings there that are hard to get past. Originally, I think when this map first came out, there wasn't much on that center point. I think it was mostly trees. Maybe a wreck of some sort was there as well for a little bit of cover, but I don't think the buildings used to be at the center point. They had added that to provide cover for assaulters. At this point, just waiting for that T-34 to pop. We had last seen him somewhere near the Tiger. There he is. He's one of their big guns. If we can take him out of the game, that'll help a little bit. And first shot reactionary, second hits. But that lights us up. We take our first bit of damage there. And a blind shot goes out. And their T-28 is down. So another big gun on their team removed. But I'm backing up at this point because I'm thinking artillery's going to drop. And there it is. And okay, that's one. He's on his reload. But they have a general idea of where we're at this point. And that Artie can let us have it all day long if he wants. But we see another target out in the distance. I decide to change my location, as does the T-28, and we want to see if we can have some sort of solution on him. Now, I will tell you right now that I probably should have paid a little bit more attention to where the artillery fire was coming from. But for now, we're just trying to worry about some of these regular targets. That's some massive damage right there. Wow, we got smacked hard. I thought at this point, well, my game's over. I tried. But I figure, you know what, I'm just going to go back to my lucky spots. It's amazing that I managed to take so many hits in the beginning. And now here we are. Double 1-2 punch. We take out that Hellcat. But yeah, no longer safe. There's a bounce. And I'm thinking, you know, I'm just going to get hit by Artie. This is why I keep moving around. You can see there's another drop right there. And so I was really paranoid at this point. And I'm thinking, well, let me just go chill here for now. Stop my tank's movement a little bit. Maybe camo back up if I can. I don't have a camo net. I just have the camouflage paint. It's a big tank destroyer, so it's not going to camouflage easily. But we do have a lot of tree cover and the hills and whatnot. T-28's not doing so well, but obviously if a leaf drops on my tank, I'll explode. But right now we're just waiting. We're waiting it out, you know. It's 3v3, and 2 of them are tank destroyers, so I'm feeling like, well, we're camping, they're camping. You know, is somebody going to mess up? And here's one of them, who's an easy one-shot if we can find him somewhere. And, you know, just again, cover. I'm thinking about maybe shooting through. I saw him take out a bit of that cover. I shot through it, tried to go for the blind shot. Hellcat, boom, on the lead. We managed to grab him. He thought that that speed was going to save him, but wasn't fast enough. And then we've got our other target here. I don't really have the gun depression. T-28 takes him out. All we have left is artillery. Now, if only we were able to find that artillery piece, and I'll go ahead and spoil it for you now. We don't. This match does end up being a draw, and I don't necessarily want to make you watch us drive around the map for the rest of the replay, but you know, it's one of those things where in hindsight, one of us probably should have driven towards the east. Most likely the Tiger II would have been the best candidate for that action. But I think he gets stuck on the island. He has to go all the way around and come back onto the road to try to get to their base. He was the closest to being able to move east. But, you know, what can you do? It's just one of those things that you don't think about. And I had no health. I'm slow. T-28's slow. Even the Tiger II is really slow. I'm not going to try to place too much blame on any of us just because, well, we stayed alive. Our team folded early. We had to get into defensive positions and just hold the line. We did that, and, you know, that's really all you can ask for. I still made about 70,000 credits off of this, and it's a draw, so you can imagine how much I would have made if I had actually won. And, again, most of that's profit. Even with the repairs and rearming shells, you still make a lot of money on this tank destroyer. So if you're looking for credit earning potential, it's definitely with the JagdTiger 88. But, you know, again, fantastic game by a few of us here at least. And we'll go ahead and move on to the next replay. Alright, now we've got some triple Churchill action for you. I've got Bombadil and my other friend Nikoni with me. And it's fun when you have two of these together. But when you have three Churchills focus firing on the same target, it is sheer bliss. And that's the idea, is you want to have these focus firing. If not, then you're really wasting their full potential. And in this match, I think there's a couple of occasions where we could have done a better job at focus firing, but what you're about to see, things get a little hectic. Bombadil's the Churchill up front, and I remember at this point thinking, hey man, you're a little far up front. I like to keep some spacing, but I just wanted to make sure that he knew that it would take us some time to catch up. I didn't want him to get too far ahead of us. Now, I don't usually take this route. It can be tricky if you're not a good hull down tank, the way the hills are, but I figured it was better than going straight for the village, because in there, once the buildings collapse, you're out of cover. And I find that more often than not, I'm taking fire from left and right. So I figured at least this way, we have the left clear, and we just have to worry about the front and the right. You can see Bombadil already taking fire, just as I had feared. And I was trying to yell for cover, but by then it was too late, and I was the one getting slammed here. You can see they've got a whole bunch of tanks waiting in ambush. I'm tracked. I could have tried to opt for the repair, but they kept tracking me anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered. I'm just sitting here. I'm like, let them have it. Focus fire all that we can. Scare them off if we can. I'm down to 1 hit point, and I'm just trying to keep them at bay. And I believe we see this big boy come over the hill, and we're all yelling at the same time, switching the premium, and we just start to let him have it. Track gets repaired. I try to move my tank back a little bit to create an angle. Focus firing like beasts at this point. That is the true power of the triple Churchill threat, and we're just trying to keep these guys at bay, keep them suppressed. I don't think that they expected to get that much fire, and not that we expected the ambush, but you know, it was good that we were in these tanks. I don't know that we would have been able to push them back with anything else at this point, but you can see that we're just trying to get rid of the remainder of that ambush force, and I don't want to move. If a piece of sand hits my tank, I'm going to explode, and I'm just saying, okay, I'm staying back here. I'll try to provide some sort of cover. I'm not sure what Bombadil's doing over there. I really don't have an eye on his situation. Nikoni's still on my left, and I just want to play it safe. I want to wait for them to make a mistake and perhaps allow them to come out more into the open so that we can get a good shot. Bombadil gets taken out, unfortunately, there, and this is going to be an interesting shot right underneath the T1 Heavy to eliminate that Panzer. This thing ended up being a sniper rifle. Strangely enough, this thing usually doesn't have really good accuracy, but my gunner, I think, is at 116% crew skill, and he was just on the money today. He was just getting in some really accurate fire, and I was shocked. It was probably some of the most accurate fire I've ever been able to deliver with this tank. And of course, that's always really tricky because with the Churchill, it has such a high rate of fire. You just want to keep pressing your mouse button, but sometimes you have to discipline yourself enough to be able to just wait for the circle to close to get those accurate shots in. There's a couple of times where I just fire in order to suppress the enemy. I know that if I take a shot, I'm out, so I mostly just wanted to keep them at bay. And here I'm just trying to cover Nikoni. Another nice snipe there with this 6-pounder gun. And Nikoni at this point was talking about just moving up. He knows that he has the most hit points, and he felt that he would be the scout on this side. We're not doing so well on the other end of the map, but there are a few units left. And I decide to move forward a little bit because it looks like we've mostly relieved this side of the map of hostile tanks. But as you can see by the mini-map, there is a KV-1 that appears to be causing some problems. Obviously, I don't have a gun depression here, so I back up a little bit. I can no longer cover Nikoni, and I'm going to try to rendezvous with him. My mistake here is, of course, letting my guard down a little bit. I should have probably been paying a little bit more attention to the location of that KV. I was kind of hoping that some of these targets would come over the hill, but then I realized that they were nowhere near it and that he was engaging the artillery. I was yelling at him to watch out for the Martyr as well, but I should have probably spent some more time worrying about that threat. One shot, one kill. If only somebody could give him some payback. There it is. In any case, amazing what you can still do in this game with 1 hit point remaining. If you got a gun, you're good to go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for joining me. I will definitely see you on the next one.